What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video today. It is time that we look at not only the 2023 governor elections, but we are also taking a first look at the 2024 gubernatorial elections. So yeah, we are combining the two election years. Now, obviously a lot of these states are, well, you could tell that there's really not going to be that many competitive seats in 2023 or 2024. But I still want to do a first look at each of the 2023 and 2024 governor elections and give my opinion on how the state of the race looks for each state. Because governor elections are way different than those of presidential, Senate, whatever, federal elections. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. Guys, just for $3 a month, you can join Real American Politics, which is a phenomenal deal as it helps support the daily content we all know and love. You love that daily content? Well, this is the best way to support the daily content. So I hope you join today. All right, everybody. Let's get into the 2023 and 2024 gubernatorial predictions. Now, things could absolutely change, but there's a lot of these states where I doubt that you're going to really see much movement. But that's kind of why we're going to include all of them, because you may have a primary update every now and again. So that's why I want to go over the 14 states that do have elections the next couple of years. Now, again, we're using the same metric. Safe is over 90% chance of victory. Likely is 75-90. Lean is 60-75%. And tilt is 50 to 60%. So yeah, let's get into the states. So we're going to start in the great state of Washington. Now, with Washington, the problem is for Republicans is the last time you won a governor's election in Washington, I believe it was 2000. I personally believe that was the last time we won a governor election in the state of Washington. Now, in 2020, Lauren Culp, who was the Republican nominee, outran Trump by quite a few points. I think it ended up being a 4 or 5 point difference. And that was against Jay Inslee, who, not necessarily the most popular guy in the world, but still fascinating that Republicans ran a couple points ahead at the governor's race. Now, here's the problem. It is Washington. This state has not voted Republican at a presidential level since what? The Reagan era? Yeah, that's the last time it voted Republican. And for the governor election, yeah, it's been quite a while. I believe it was 2000 was the last time, or 1996. It was one of those, I think the 90s may have been, I don't know. But either way, it's been a long time since Republicans won the governor's race in Washington. Now, it would probably be closer than the presidential race, who could potentially see us picking up a couple seats in the state house. But outside of that, it's really just, okay, whoop-de-doo, nothing to say much about Washington. Now, Utah. This is obviously going to be a safe state, but there will be, in my opinion, a competitive primary in the state of Utah. Spencer Cox, funny last name, he is hated within the Utah GOP. He's too liberal for them. That's how bad he is. As many of you probably know, the Utah GOP is one of the most incompetent statewide parties in the country. One of the most liberal Republican parties nationwide. I mean, they have preferred pronouns and all this other stuff about gender identity and yada, yada, yada. It's like, what happened to the conservatives in Utah? I mean, I understand that the Mormon church has some weird stuff, but still, it's like, really? You're telling me that's what become of the state of Utah? What was once one of the most conservative, pro-family states in the country? So there will probably be a competitive primary in this state. And in 2020, Spencer Cox almost lost the primary. Yeah, he almost lost in 2020 in the primary. He only won by, I believe it ended up being like 5,000 votes. We were that close to getting someone actually conservative in the office of governor. But it is what it is. We got to deal with Spencer Cox. Hopefully somebody primaries him out. It's beyond useless that we have governors like that in the Republican Party. Now we got Montana. Great, Gianforte. Barring him running for the Senate, he's going to win that re-election by probably 15 points. It's not good for the Montana Democrats. Their bench is running thin. They only got John Tester. That's about it. Steve Bullock, he's term limited. Plus, I think his magic ran out after 2016. He got obliterated in 2020. Yeah, I think overall there's not much to say in the state of Montana. Neither is there in North Dakota. There's really nothing fascinating from what I'm aware of in the state of North Dakota for that Senate race. Now we got Missouri, and the state of Missouri is going to be safe Republican, but there could be, well, I wouldn't say there could be a primary. I think Parsons is running for, or I think he's term limited. Actually, yeah, I believe that the governor of Missouri is term limited, or he's not running. I could be mistaken, but either way, I don't believe he's officially running just yet. But either way, there's going to be a competitive primary in the state of Missouri. Hopefully we get someone that's remotely conservative. Just not some neocon loser that, it's the state of Missouri. It's only a Trump plus 20 seat. We cannot dare run a conservative MAGA candidate. We need a liberal Republican. So yeah, it is safe Republican, but just make sure you don't get a rhino. That's all I'm asking for, because that would be a waste of a governor's seat if we get a rhino in the state of Missouri. Now, the state of Indiana, there is good news. Eric Holcomb is gone. Thank goodness. And well, Mike Braun, the senator of the great state of Indiana, fairly conservative, he has declared his candidacy for the governorship. And there's been a couple other candidates. Susan Crotch, I think, is the second one. She's the lieutenant governor. And that's about it. It's between Braun and Suzanne. Either way, it is a safe Republican seat. Mike Braun, whoever, if you somehow lose that primary, it's still going to be safe far. We are rooting, of course, for Braun. Fairly conservative. Somebody that we absolutely need in the state of Indiana. We have a big rhino problem in Indiana. Look what happened with redistricting. Well, Illinois had that monstrosity where there's a district halfway through the frickin' state. We couldn't make Indiana first more competitive. Are you frickin' serious? So we need somebody like Braun who's conservative and overall solid on the issues. West Virginia. Not much be said here. Now, if somebody like Manchin decides to run for the governor election, I don't think he will now. I actually think he declined that. It could theoretically get close because it is a governor's race with a former governor of the state of West Virginia. And outside of that, it is a safe Republican seat. Delaware, safe Democrat, though it could be closer. The Democratic incumbent is term limited. And in 2022, Republicans actually did kind of good in the state of Delaware. Now, the problem is Biden's more than likely going to be the Democrat nominee in the state of Delaware. For president. So that's going to help Delaware Democrats immensely. Vermont, it's Republican. Phil Scott, unless he runs for that Senate seat, it's safe Republican. Sununu, he's going to win New Hampshire easily. Now, things may get a bit scary for Sununu down the line. I mean, he only won re-election by, I believe it was 15 points in 2022 after winning it by, I think it was 30 in 2020. So if that trend continues, I would be a bit skeptical with Sununu, but he's still going to win no matter what. It's just a matter of how things trend in the state of New Hampshire. So yeah, we got rid of the 10 states that nobody really gives a... I really don't think people care that much about outside of maybe Indiana with Braun and Utah in hopes we get somebody better than Cox. Outside of that, we get to the 4 important states. The 3 states for this cycle, or I should say 2023, and the 1 truly competitive seat for 2024, North Carolina. So let's start with Louisiana, because that one's easy to knock off. If Bell Edwards ran again, he may have won. It is safe Republican. You're not going to get John Bell Edwards 2.0. Not happening. So now we have the 3 states everybody's going to be talking about for the next couple of years. We got Mississippi. There could be a problem in Mississippi for Republicans. You have a conservative Democrat running against Reeves, which may make me a bit worried of Reeves holding on, because Tate Reeves has not been the most conservative governor in the world, but he did pass some recently conservative bills. Outside of that, Brandon Presley is a serious threat to Tate Reeves. There's been some polling to indicate that Reeves could be down a couple points. Now, I think as of now, with Reeves being an incumbent, it is leaning Republican, though I would be a bit worried if I was Republicans in the state of Mississippi. Presley is a serious threat. You cannot just take him lightly like, oh, there's no way he can win. We're in Mississippi. Look what happened in Louisiana. Bell Edwards ran, and arguably Presley's more conservative than Bell Edwards. But there's debate about that either way. We got to see what happens. If Presley runs on this populist, blue-collar, rural Mississippi Democrat, he could seriously win. And that's what he's running on so far. And, well, the polling's within the margin of error, so hopefully the RGA doesn't fall asleep here. But if Presley isn't a fraud, he wouldn't be the worst Democrat in the world. I just have some fears about some of his past statements about people like Trump and other stuff like that. Now we got the 2, I guess you could say, most important states for 2023 and 2024. Kentucky and the state of North Carolina. Now, with Kentucky, we're going to start with Kentucky because it is in 2023. There are some advantages for Republicans going into this election. Namely, the fact that it's not going to be a blue wave environment. Bashir won on the fact that it was a blue wave environment. And this is the thing that people forget. Bevin, who was a Republican candidate or Republican governor, was hated. He was absolutely despised by countless people in the state of Kentucky. He had a lot of scandals, and well, that's how Bashir won. Plus his last name helps in the state of Kentucky. Now, Republicans have a couple good candidates. They have somebody like Dan Cameron, the Attorney General, who is currently the clear frontrunner for the Republican nomination in the state of Kentucky. Now, the polling data is so limited that we can't use polling. We cannot use polling data as of now. There's only been one poll. Wow. From Mason-Dixon. It's not like Mississippi where we've seen 2 or 3 polls. Kentucky, we've seen 1. So we're not going to really look at polling. We're just going to look at fundamentals. The only thing that Democrats have going for them is the fact this is an incumbent. This is one of the only things Democrats have going for them in the state of Kentucky. Outside of that, partisanship. One of the most Republican states in the country. You look at the candidates. You have an attorney general who won by quite a bit in 2019. And you look at the other fundamentals, funding. It looks like Cameron will actually have a decent amount of backing. And on top of all of that, this isn't a blue wave environment. At best, it may be a blue puddle. That means Democrats do slightly better in the state of Kentucky than usual. All right? So yeah, but as of now, with so many unknowns, I want to play it safe. I want to play it safe and say it is tilting Democrat just for the fact there's a lot of unknowns, but the fundamentals, when you look at it, do favor Republicans here. I just want to see a little bit more, see what happens in the primary. Things could change. That's why I'm just saying we'll just tilt Democrat for now. But I think Bashir could absolutely be taken out this year. Now we got the state of North Carolina, the most discussed, argued, debated state of 2023 and 2024. Now, the fundamentals in North Carolina are fairly solid for Republicans. They, in recent years, have taken supermajorities in the state legislature. They have got a majority in the state Supreme Court. And in recent years, have been picking off a lot of the statewide offices. Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, I believe, Treasurer, etc. They've been slowly picking them off. Now, Roy Cooper in 2020 won by 4.5. But here's the thing, though. He was an incumbent, and well, considering the environment, that was kind of expected. He actually underperformed expectations in 2020. I know that sounds crazy. He wins by 4.5 in North Carolina, the Democrat, but that's considered an underperformance because most people thought he was going to win by a lot. They were saying, 10, 15 points even. He won by 4.5, I believe it ended up being, if not a bit closer. So that's strike one for Democrats. Roy Cooper isn't running. That's strike two because he's term limited. Strike three is the fact this is a state that is slightly trending Republican. It absolutely is. It's not a big shift, but it is shifting very slowly Republican. And, well, their candidates they got in the state of North Carolina, I'm telling you, Mark Robinson, if he stays on message, is absolutely a strong candidate. That's his one concern. If he doesn't stay on message, when he talks and he talks about issues that matter, I can listen to him all day and not get bored. People need to understand that Mark Robinson is a strong candidate when focused, all right? If he goes on a tangent about something random, that could hurt him. Just don't do what Donald Trump does and focus on stuff that doesn't matter. And in 2020, he was one of the best performing Republicans statewide. He won by 3.5. Again, I know that was because of it being, a lieutenant governor's election, but people are still going to pay attention to it. It's not like the state agriculture commissioner or whatever. It's a second in line for the governorship. They're absolutely going to pay attention to it. While Josh Stein, he kind of underperformed a little bit. He kind of did a bit worse than Roy Cooper. And with all that in mind, Mark Robinson appears to have all the support from the North Carolina GOP. I think it's tilting Republican. I think as of now, which it could absolutely change, it is tilting Republican. Again, it could absolutely change. Something crazy could happen. Mark Robinson could have a scandal, yada, yada, yada. But as of now, the fundamentals do favor Mark Robinson. And even the polling, it's within the margin of error, if not Mark Robinson ahead by a couple points. But we just got to see what happens. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below. Subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.